should you buy Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier in 2024? Ghost Recon Future Soldier initially released back in 2012 for the Xbox 360 and PS3. The game was the last Ghost Recon game that was in the style of the tactical and more linear experiences of games before it, opposed to the new open world style of games such as Wildlands and Breakpoint. I actually played this game on my Xbox 360 in 2012, and I'd bought the game on Steam a few years ago, hoping to get to it one day in order to relive some childhood memories. I finally got around to it a few weeks ago, and man does this game really have that Xbox 360 feel to it, which I know isn't really a description, but most of you will know what I mean. It's not only got that Xbox 360 jank, but the general gameplay and story of the game is reflective of many shooters back in the Xbox 360 days. Of course, there'll be no spoilers for the game's story component, and with that, let's get right into it. This section is going to be extremely short, because to be honest, the story in this game is just your average, predictable Ghost Recon story. There's not much going on in this game, both in terms of the game's main plot and the characters and their little bits of development. This is really your run-of-the-mill story, and like many games in this era, this game is truly just focused on the gameplay component, which I personally find really fun, as I'll discuss later. But really, the story is just a vehicle for the gameplay to accelerate and make it plausible that the team ventures into all of these diverse and unique locations around the world, including countries such as Pakistan, Norway, and Bolivia. I think that's the entire purpose of the game's story, because there's nothing really memorable about the characters, except some of their little banter, which I'm just personally a fan of, but it's not really a major part of the game's story. But it does add that little bit of natural conversation between the Ghost team that makes it feel a little more human. They may be trained specialists in war, conducting all types of secret military operations, but their little bit of back and forth dialogue humanizes them to a great extent, and it was probably a highlight for me in an otherwise forgettable and unrealized story. If you're coming into this game with expectations for a great story, and I don't really understand why you would in any scenario, this game really doesn't deliver at all in that aspect, and all of the fun and great aspects of this overall package comes from the fantastic yet simple gameplay that revels in the older style of the Ghost Recon franchise. Again, although this story isn't the greatest in any aspect, it is serviceable, and the story makes it plausible that the characters would even be able to end up in the diverse and honestly bizarre locations that they end up in. So it really is a great vehicle to get the gameplay going, which is the best aspect of this game by far. The gameplay of Ghost Recon Future Soldier surely isn't anything complex, but it really is a fun system that is extremely different to the newer Ghost Recon games we have nowadays. Before I get into the gameplay aspects of Ghost Recon Future Soldier as a whole, I think I should mention the game's performance on PC, which is where I played the game. The performance on PC is quite abysmal. It's in the era of games where PC ports weren't really trying at all, and that's really reflected in the game's PC performance to this day. I had to disable DirectX 11 and some other random settings so the game wasn't constantly stuttering and having this weird slowness to it all. I figured the settings out before I actually got into the game properly, but mind you, all of what I'm saying is with a 4080, so the game is just really badly optimized. The compromise I really got to was basically a locked 30 FPS without any drops, which just added to that Xbox 360 feel for me personally, but I definitely understand if this contention is a deal breaker to many. Anyway, back to the gameplay. This game has that classic focus on tacticality within combat, with you being able to target enemies through your other teammates to line up your shots and take down 4 enemies at once. This is also called sync shot. This is used constantly as when sneaking around and trying to get past a group of enemies, targeting each one individually and then waiting for the teammates to move to a tactical position to fill the order was satisfying, and then the rest of your team shooting on your shot was quite endearing as you see all the enemies fall at the exact same time. I really like this more tactical side of Ghost Recon, which is very much missing to a great extent in the new, more open world games, and I think in the case of this game, the tactical nature can be attributed to the abilities and the gear you have, and also the general level design. I don't want to spoil any aspects of the locations and levels you venture into throughout the game's missions, but I'll just say each environment is extremely unique from one another, and different gameplay components are added in every single mission that makes it feel so distinct from one another and really makes the gameplay progressively increase in quality as you continue playing the game. This sync shot mechanic that I was talking about earlier is really a main focus of the squad component in this game, and utilizing this mechanic not only in the stealth sections before I got caught, but also within actual combat to make my teammates made to prioritize specific targets really added to that tactical fantasy that the game is trying to deliver. The stealth is just really great overall in this game. With the use of gadgets such as the drone, you'll be able to scope out the mission area before you venture into it and mark the positions of enemies so you can take them down strategically without anyone else noticing. Another mechanic that really accentuates the stealth is the game's adaptive camouflage, which allows the ghost team to become invisible when they're moving slowly. This is of course a great tool for stealth, but disengages itself when you take a shot at enemies or begin running or doing anything of that sort. As for the game's actual combat, it's pretty fun, although extremely simplistic. This game is in all of its aspects a third-person cover shooter. So within the actual intense combat, you'll be running from cover to cover, especially as cover gets exposed, shooting when you get the chance, using grenades and any other tools you have in order to get an edge over the enemy. It's nothing complex, and the weapons are also the run-of-the-mill weapons you'd expect in terms of the ARs, snipers and whatnot. Although there is a great level of customization for the weapons before each mission, and you can actually customize your loadout before each mission if you'd like to, the predetermined one set for each mission really provides you with a loadout fit to the environment of that particular mission. Again, the combat here isn't anything remarkable, but it is super fun, and especially in the more stealth and tactical department, and as your gadgets and tools increase as the missions go, the game gets super fun and satisfying to play. Overall, if you want an old school feeling Ghost Recon game, Ghost Recon Future Soldier has got that in abundance, and the more tactical nature of this game is something I really miss in the newer open world Ghost Recon games, even if I really enjoyed them, and its charm in the Xbox 360 era of games really shines at the forefront of this entire experience. By far, the gameplay is the best part of Ghost Recon Future Soldier, and I solely recommend you purchase this game just for the gameplay and its amazing environments alone. To wrap up, yes, you should absolutely buy Ghost Recon Future Soldier in 2024. The game is currently on sale for just a few dollars, and for that you're getting about 8 to 10 hours of consistently fun and engaging gameplay that should leave you satisfied if you feel like playing the more tactical era of the Ghost Recon games, and I personally had a lot of fun with it, even if it was a bit janky in performance and even if the story wasn't really good at all. Anyway, that's it from me for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.